Hey RJ, what's going on, man?
It's going, man. Thank you for joining me. I was just I was gonna do um, a review on our deal calculator. I'm actually gonna get this deal calculator. I'm gonna put it in the resources center of
Okay.
the group, and I'm also gonna put it in acquisitions. So there's gonna be two spots for it. But thanks for joining the call. I didn't think anybody was gonna join today. And so I just went ahead and I was going to do a tutorial and basically do a deal breakdown about this deal that we just sold today. Um,
Awesome.
and some background on this. So I'm going to give you the inside scoop was that we, originally thought this was going to be a buy and hold. It was going to cash flow about 400 bucks. And the tenant moved out. So we acquired this from our property manager. And one of the things that I was sharing today in my TikTok live was, some low cost ways of getting deals. And you can get deals by just picking up the phone and networking with somebody on the other line. And so this lead came from our property manager who does he's got over like 2,000 doors and he's got a lot of owners and knows that we're actively buying. And so he sold this deal to us. We got it from him. There was a renter in place. And while we were getting ready to get closing and we were going to do a burst strategy on this one, we closed on the deal, and the tenant decided that they weren't going to stay in the property anymore, and so we had to deal with moving them out. Right, we had to get them out of there, and then we were like, all right, well, once they moved out, then you're kind of left with, their leftovers, right? So they
Right.
looked good when we were in there. Then when they moved out, we're like, man, they just started flooring. We're gonna have to paint it. We're going to have to fix up the patio, which we couldn't really see because we had a bunch of stuff in there. And then on top of that, all kinds of trash everywhere in the back. In the garage, man, they had the garage. There was like a bunch of 2x4s, and now that's like that's like a hot commodity, 2x4.
Nowadays, yeah, the wood is
Yeah,
expensive.
2x4, you can sold that on Amazon or something. So what we did was like, all right, well, you know, why don't we just fix it up? It's a hot market, and we can put a little bit more rehab into it. Well, let me show you the after pictures of the rehab because the exterior was okay. Like I probably personally would have um, repainted it, but in our rehab budget, we had to redo the floors twice.
Oh
And so
no shit.
this contractor that we had, um, he was a good guy. Like he started doing some smaller jobs for us, some smaller turns, and then he started doing bigger jobs because that's how we have contractors kind of rise up. And he was good for, I think he was with us in all totality, probably like 8 or 9 months, and then we had to, cut ties with him because of this job, and we had a disagreement that we couldn't agree upon. And when this was technically done, my field guy inspected it and he noticed that the flooring, especially like at the ends here, these are LVP flooring, so they got to connect. And he noticed that they just weren't connecting, like they weren't locking in a lot of places, and this is you know, throughout the area. And so we were like, hey man, you got to come back and fix your flooring. Like this is not. And mind you, this was 3 days. This was like on a Friday. We said, hey man, we'll give you the weekend to fix this up, but we can't pay you your last draw because it looks really bad. Um, and then on top of that, let me show you the biggest thing was this patio, right?
Back
Had
there.
uneven edges like at the end. I'm like, whoever did this job for you, because he probably subbed it out, and acted as a GC, you know. So I'm like, you gotta come back and fix this. This isn't gonna pass inspection. And so we took pictures of this, took pictures of the flooring, and then we also said, hey man, there's so much stuff in the garage, just get it out of the garage. This was all full, like in here, outside, there's all kinds of trash. I'm like, we got to get that out of there. And so he was already pissed off. It was Friday. And I said, hey, we can't give you your full money to be paid because that's the only leverage you have with contractors. Unfortunately, it's
Right.
like if you fix it all, we'll be good. So then on Monday, he said like, hey man, I went over there the weekend, and the reason why the flooring's messed up is because there's a leak. There's a leak. We're like, a leak? What do you mean? Like, yeah, if you look at the water meter, because there's a water meter in one of these rooms. He's like, that's the reason why the flooring separated. I'm like, no, 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 no. The floor was not wet at all on Friday, you know? So, what I'm thinking is what they did was he on purposefully turned the water, like had a little bit of a leak. He was blaming that flooring on the leak. And when we went there and inspected up, and like that whole house was inspected up and down, there was no leak at all. So anyway, just cutting the short story here, like we had to let him go. And sometimes that's just the nature of this business. If you can't come up to an agreement, it's like, look, I'm not, like we've given you enough chances, and you're still coming up with excuses, and you're not going to do it, and you're wanting us to fix your initial mistake, and you're trying to make excuses with this water meter. So what happened was we're not working with that person anymore, and we had another contractor come in, and this was the
The end result here.
it's always just a standard kind of rental turned into a little bit of like a wholesale. But this is what we do for rehab. We like to use this flooring throughout. Everything is safe and functional. Like we could have probably rented this out, but the market's hot, and we sold it. Like 5 days, got in contract. So
Wow. Okay.
done after the overages of rehab, we made about 25K ish. So but when we were originally going into this, this is our deal calculator, right? So, when we're thinking about ARV and after repair values, I think we were kind of figuring this would be around 130 as a property. There's rehabs out there that are selling for like 140, 145, but that's like, with everything, granted everything, like really high end finishes and stuff like that. Our rehabs are typically one where if we do anything fancy, it'll probably be like granite. We don't like to do higher end rehabs, because the output that you're getting back isn't going to be the best return. You know what I mean?
Have you ever looked into like epoxy?
So I heard about epoxy on the floors, garage floors. Excuse me. But you were talking epoxy for the counters?
For counters, yeah, tables, makes it look really nice, almost like a marble finish.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we haven't done that yet. Have you?
I have not. I got a friend who's actually doing it for a living, so that's a good connect that I'm trying to get with for future projects. But yeah, I've seen a lot of the finished work that she's done, and it looks beautiful.
That's awesome, man. So this is our deal calculator, which I'm going to be putting in our resources center. You guys can use it to help you kind of quickly analyze things. But this is where you would put the ARV right up here.
Right.
Put it on your comps, and then you would put your rent. So in that particular property, I'll probably rent for about $1,200 a month. And then obviously you want to put your taxes, tax assessor site. So let me see here. I'll just use this thing. Taxes are 1191. And the acquisition price, I believe, was 65. And right here, I like to put the cost of money, and I put 10%. Sometimes our investors are getting 12%, but on average, our investors are getting, our private lenders are getting on the minimum 10%. If it's less than that, it's probably a relationship that, was way back when, and they were used to getting 8, 9%. That's where I would put this 10% in here. And then, so how we structure our deals, Lon, is that we like to put an assignment fee in there so that, there's a way to like pay yourself on every deal, whether it's a flip or a buy and hold property, right? When you pay yourself on every deal, that means that you can make sure that you have enough marketing dollars coming out, and you can also pay yourself more. So you get the money now factored, okay? And what that does is just, it puts less stress on you, like with that question of like, should I just wholesale this, or you know what I mean? Like,
So it's like a double dip in a way where you wholesale to yourself and then flip it. Okay.
That's how you keep the lights on. That's how, you can get the more marketing. Like that's your lifeblood. That's like the whole reason why we love private lenders, because this right here, this assignment fee for yourself, if you used a hard money lender, it'll be tough, man. They just, because they need to get paid on the deal,
They set the terms, right?
So that's why the private lender that we have relationships with, they don't care. I mean, as long as they're getting their return, as long as they get their money back, they don't really care how you structure it. So that's why we put 10K there. And then here, the rehab on this one was about 15,000. I like to put insurance down here. Strategy one on a lot of our strategy for rentals, we do rent to own. And so we put that, this is what the option down. Another cost that we want to factor in, because then we're going to look down here and see if this deal is going to cash flow, right? For the rent to own or rental, is a refinance rate. And that's like what the interest rate you're going to get from the bank is. So we put 4% there. And our property management company, after it's all said and done, they charge us about 8%. So here are some figures. If you did a pro forma, right, your cap rate on this deal would be 9.8%. Your cash ROI, the money you put out, would give you a return of 23%, and then your cash flow is about 448.73. So this is why we do it, okay. And then you have your fix and flip cost right here. We could have made this much, but we ended up selling for 125. So if we put 125 here, it'll probably be closer to what we made, which is like right around 32 after we paid our lenders and all that, 25. So I like to use this deal calculator to also help you understand what it would look like if you flipped it, if you held on to it, if you flipped it with a renter inside, okay? That's what we call turnkey. Okay, that's what we did one from 2013 till about 2018. We were a turnkey company. So that's another way how you can sell your deal. If you have a rental and then you have a renter inside, you're going to find an investor more so than a homeowner that wants to buy your property. So that's what we call turnkey. So this is a deal calculator. I'm going to download it. I'm going to put it into the resources center for everybody. Now, these are kind of our targets. Now, if you can change this at any time, right? It can be more specific to what you want. So like your minimum, let's just put, you want 500 as your minimum net cash flow, right? You can put that net minimum to be what, 500, and so your net minimum here in monthly cash flow, if it doesn't meet your net minimum, then you're not going to do the deal. but this is what our market, you know, we've been in the market so long, we know what a good and bad deal is. But you know, at the end of the day, it's going to be dependent on your goal, right? What is your, it's like, what is your freedom number? Like, let's just call it your expenses that you have every month. Let's just say it's 4,000. How many of these houses do you need to cover your expenses every month? You know what I'm saying?
All of them.
So,
No, I got you. I got what you're saying.
7 houses cash in at this amount could be just cover your monthly nut, and then you can build on that. Eventually, that replaces your income, and you can decide on whether you, or not you want to continue to work. So that's our deal calculator. I'll put it in there. How was your week so far, Juan? I know it's we're heading. You have a good week?
It's been good. It's been good so far. Yeah, my 9 to 5 was keeping me busy last time, so I missed your last Zoom call. But yeah, we actually just took the whole day today to try for dollars in a different area, and now we just got home, and I was about to start working on those, and I saw that you were on, so I jumped on the Zoom call real quick.
How's do you have any wins to share?
Say that again.
Do you have any wins? Any wins to share?
No, the opposite quite. Lost really. I went to go see a house last weekend. Yeah, last Saturday. Went to go see a property. Took a GC friend of mine. Got some rehab numbers. Went and got my max allowable offer, but the seller wasn't too happy with it. He basically just wanted retail for a piece of property that needed about 70 grand in rehab costs. We just couldn't do it.
Okay. So he was his expectation was a little bit higher.
He wanted about 230. And ARV on that property there was about 275.
Yeah, that's not
fully equipped. Yeah. So he wanted basically retail value for a house that needed close to 70K and fixing.
Are there any sales that were underneath that ARV that fit this house? That was
No, this house was kind of special in a way where it was sitting for so long to begin with. It just had a lot of unique deficiencies to it. And then once this seller bought it, I guess his plans was to fix and flip, but he held it for about 2 years, and it was actually worse off than when he got it. The closest properties I've seen to that one were missing about a room, and this house in particular was actually missing the garage, the 2-car garage that is kind of standard out here. But he replaced that with a room. And then there was also a question on whether or not he had the permit for it when he did it. So yeah. But all in all, there was just too much going on for him to ask for basically retail.
Okay. Well, you know, he's probably going to run into the same situation with other investors.
Right.
So follow up. You know, don't give up or transfer.
No, yeah, I've already made a note to follow up with him in a couple of weeks, maybe a month or so, and see if he still has it. I'm sure he will, but.
Okay. What other forms of marketing are you doing?
Honestly, my 90% of what I'm doing is driving for dollars and skip tracing myself. And every now and again, I'll send out some postcards.
Okay. And you're in Texas, right, Juan?
No, I'm down in Florida.
Down in Florida. What about putting out some signs on like a weekend? You know, maybe
some yard signs.
You know what, man? Like the best thing that I did when, you know, I was doing marketing and I didn't have a lot of money. This is just, I talked about this today on my live on TikTok, low cost strategies. And one of them is those bandit signs. You know, you can go you can get your sign direct from the wholesaler. Like over here, that company is called Tube Light, but down in Florida, it might be a different company. But you can get signs direct for like maybe 75 cents or even less than that. And what I would do is I would do 100 at a time. Now, mind you, it was just me, you know, and like my brother would help me every now and then. But what I did was like, I'm like, this is my way of getting the phone to ring. And so I was like, I'm gonna put out 100 every other weekend, right? Because I knew people were driving around, going to parties or going to like Home Depot, whatever. And it was also the time when code enforcement wasn't working. So I had Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I would put them out Thursday night and then finish up like Friday, and that way I had maximum exposure without any, you know, haggle from.
Backlash. Yeah.
And then even if they called you and you were like, "Is this RJ?" Because I literally put RJ buys houses, my cell phone number, and they would go right to my cell phone, right? So code enforcement, contractors, realtors, everybody was calling me. Motivated sellers. And so I would do 100 every other weekend so that it wouldn't look like I'm just like, you know, I didn't want to piss them off. But there was times when, because it took me about 6 months to really get my first one done. I was getting these properties in contract, but I was getting them too high. And so it was 6 months, and I would get all kinds of calls, man. But I'd go into the areas that I was targeting and put it in the high traffic areas. And you can do it with stakes, but just know that, if you do it with stakes, someone can easily, your competition, or like we call them sign Nazis, sign police, take them, right? They
Pull
just
them out.
pull them out. So I would get the 18 by 24. If it was wintertime, I'd do yellow. And then in the summertime, I'd do white. Because yellow, that stands out. And then white, in the summertime, I thought it would stand out. Then I get the Magnum marker. You have to get the Magnum. You can get that at Michael's or any craft store. The fattest marker, and you got to just put your number, your I buy houses cash, and then put your number. And if you don't want to use your number, you can do a Google Voice. But
yeah, I have a Google Voice now.
I was eager, I was hungry, so I just had it right to my phone. Boom, you get leads that way as well, low cost. Another way.
I've been putting sticky notes on the doors as well. And I'm driving around, but I don't know if it's gonna stay around. You know what I mean? Fly off, and put in the mailboxes as well.
If they're vacant, no one's living in there.
If they're vacant, yeah. If they're vacant, I won't put it on there. But if it just looks, like it needs a lot of work, but there's people still living in there, especially after I check it on PropStream's mobile app. Then I'll put a sticky note on there as well. But yeah, I need to get me some of those signs.
Another one is picking up the phone and talking to property managers. Property managers are in front of cash buyers. It's landlords, right? So you'll have landlords that want to sell their property. So that's you, man. You want to get them in contract, and then also you want to get in front of the property managers because you have off-market deals. They could sell it to their buyer, right? So property managers probably have access to deals or houses that nobody will even know about because they're in the know with their owners, and this is how we got this deal. Never hit the market, pocket listing. Our realtor was like, "Hey, this guy's ready to move on from this." We're like, "Yeah, this is our pocket. We got a lot of deals in 43227. That's the zip code." I'm like, "Well, how much does he want for it?" And then, he was like, "Well, he's looking about 80." And I'm like, "Well, we can probably cash him out at like 60, 65. Went with 65. So it works. You just got to get out there and network a little bit. Plus, they'll also know that you're buying, and then potentially when you start buying and holding, you could potentially say, hey, I could put my properties with you. You're just
Right.
networking, man. It's like, how much value can you add to whoever you are talking to on the phone? And the value that you have is you're out there on this, looking for deals all the time that are not on the MLS. That's your value add. Plus, you have business to potentially bring to this property manager once you start buying and holding.
Absolutely. That's a
So
good idea.
that's a low cost way, And then, man, it's been a while since I checked Craigslist, put ads. But you can go on Craigslist and go to the real estate service and put ads on there.
I'm actually on there. I actually put a posting up yesterday, and as I was getting home, I actually got an email from somebody about a couple miles away. But yeah, I'm look into that one as well.
Yeah. If you're driving your truck, order yourself one of those magnets. Just kind of like start branding your truck a little bit. Just I mean, it doesn't cost you a lot. You can go on Vistaprint and get a nice magnet
Right.
for $20. And then you could probably start writing off some of your vehicle.
Yeah.
Your clothes, you got to be branded. You got to have that "We Buy Houses" Juan, I Juan. I'm your number one buyer, bro. That's what I would put. Number one buyer. But so those are just all kind of strategies that you can get your phone ringing, because that's when your phone's not ringing, man. No more business.
Sad day. It's a sad day.
Get out there, network. It's free to do that. Driving for dollars is a great strategy. When I was live today, I was in front of a house that was literally like 3 or 4 blocks down where I lived in half of a duplex when I got started, and I would run to the gym. The gym was a mile away, and that's how I would get my warm up to the gym. Right on the way to the gym, there's this like orange sticker on a house that immediately, because I'm trained to see that now, it's like, oh, vacant property in this really nice neighborhood. So literally, dude, I took a picture of this, and then as I'm running to the gym, I'm pulling it up on my phone, looking up who the owner is on the auditor site, and I'm like, the owner lives at this. So it was in the neighborhood that is a little bit rougher part of town. And so I'm like, shit, after the gym, I'm going to go over there and knock on his door and be like, hey, I'm the neighbor. I noticed that you had a vacant property. I'm looking for a house, And that's what I did, man. I used to, my business card, my We Buy Houses card, on the back of it says, you want to make $500? Send this card to somebody that needs to sell their house, and if we end up buying this house, I'll give you $500. Still do that today. And so I found out where the owner lived. Like, it was literally on the auditor site, and I went and drove there, and it was this young lady that answered the door, and I said, hey, I'm looking for Mr. Valentine, who owns 432 West First. I'll pull it up on the auditor site. And she was like, that's my uncle, And I'm like, well, I'm his neighbor, and I noticed that this house is vacant. You think he'd be interested in selling this house? And she was like, well, I can ask him, do you have your number? And I'm like, well, here's my card. And this is what got you.
That was a hook.
Your uncle, I'll give you $500. And so here it is, sharing you the screen. I did this back in 2014, man. That's our company. We got it in contract, and it was such a good deal that we closed on it, right? This was a 300K neighborhood. Wow. 300K neighborhood. I'm showing you a photo of this brick freaking beauty, dude. Like, And so this is when
Wow.
finally, let me show you the non-fixed up picture. Non-fixed up, bro. Look, see that front awning? Messed up.
Yeah.
Inside,
Yeah.
inside there was a squatter that I can probably, oh, please tell me I can pull up the video. Rats everywhere, everywhere. Like it was. Let me sign in here. I'm trying to pull it up. I had video of the squatter that was living in there, and scared the shit out of Dave and I. Like we thought it was like get mugged or something. This is a pretty good part of town, but when you're dealing with squatters, typically they're drunk or on drugs. I hope I have the picture on this. So I don't think I do. I go there that next day. Mr. Valentine calls me and he's like, "Yeah, this RJ?" I'm like, "Yep." He's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna sell my house." I'm like, "Okay." I was like, I can close quick, pay cash. You don't got to deal with because it was like, man, like the city's probably on you. Probably got all these code violations. He's like, "Yeah, man. They want me to fix it up. They want me to. Damn, I don't have the pictures on here. They want me to do this to it. I don't want it." I was like, "Well, how much do you want for it? I'll pay you cash. You don't got to do any of the closing costs. I'll get them out of your hair. I'll fix it up really nice." He's like, "Give me 80 for it," because it's worth 300. And I'm like, "All right, let's meet right now." I'm driving to the office the next day. Calls me, and I'm like, "I'll meet you right now at Spinelli's." And it was this little diner in this in this little area right here. Meet him at the diner, sign it up, and I'm telling you, I'm like, "Oh my god, this is the best slam dunk deal ever." And it was in the middle of winter, right? It was the middle of winter. We took it down. This is our buyer, and he bought it for 125. We had to get the squatter out. We had to completely trash the place out, and it was such a good deal. I'm like, "Dude, yeah, let's spend a couple grand to clean it out, pay an inspector to come in and make sure they got all their. So we got to disclose all this stuff, and then we found a buyer for 125. So that's my driving for dollars story, man. I'm telling you, this stuff works. And it was actually I was running to the gym, so I was like running for dollars.
Sweet.
But don't give up on that strategy because it'll work. Even if they say no right now, like this guy
Yeah.
being foolish, he's going to be paying taxes and probably getting, you know, notices from the city probably.
Everybody's loving the hot market, but it's not gonna last forever, man.
Yeah, oh, it's a hot market. Like, no, dude. I mean, you still need he probably doesn't have money to fix up the house, You're his best
Yeah,
option.
I know I am. I know I am. So far, he said he's lost a couple people because he was also a GC. He's lost his people to work on the house. He's like I said, he's had it for over 2 years, and it's worse than when he got it. So
Yeah,
I'll just sit on it a little bit and keep working.
yeah, yeah, man. So there it is. Look, right here, Valentine. You want to talk. You want to make sure you have both the the people that are like the decision makers. So if you see a lady on there, like Mr. and Mrs. Valentine, and you're talking to somebody because you want both the decision makers to be there when you're signing off on it, you have the right people. But yeah, man, that property now probably worth 400, 500 now. That area is hot. Let's see. I'm gonna get this into the group now. You can have it. You can play with it. What else is going on in your world? You got any questions from last week? Because I know you weren't able to.
I wasn't able to attend, but do you have a recording of that one
Yeah,
that I
so
can?
Dave that was on his Zoom. I put that to the group when he gets back. He's in Dominican Republic right now
Okay.
for Memorial Day weekend. So he's having a good time. And we'll be able to get that recording, and I'm actually going to put this recording in there so that everybody can kind of review it. But we talked about subject 2, and right now we're running a special on the 2 courses. You get buy one and you get one for free. That's the private money course and the subject 2 course. It's $497 for both of those courses, and those are on the I believe they're in the courses section right here. So if you want to check that out, if you got the money for it, great. If not, check it out when you do have the money for it. But it'll analyze a subject 2 deal, how to talk subject 2 with the seller to make it very easy to understand, because that's what holds up a lot of people, is talking to that motivated seller and giving them scenarios that will work, but not overcomplicating it to where you just kill yourself a little bit, right? You talk yourself out of the deal pretty much.
Yeah. You gotta keep them following.
You gotta keep it simple for them because they don't know what subject 2 is. So you technically have to, when you're negotiating with it, and Dave has some really good videos about it, you gotta keep it out of there. You know, you gotta talk to them hey, I'm gonna take over your mortgage payments, and I'll just make the payments to the bank itself. You never have to worry about it. I'll do it. And on top of that, what we do as an added support to them is we help them find a new place. You know, support them with, and because that's that's the problem solver type approach. When you have that problem solving approach, man, your motivated sellers are going to love you to the point where, let me just show you some, the point where
they trust you, and then that's a big step.
On top of that, they're going to be raving fans. So we have a YouTube channel. Look at this, man. I'm telling you, all the testimonials of sellers. Sell House Columbus. Here's Dave. See that? These are all testimonials from, look at this guy. I like this guy because he kind of looks like Warren Buffett.
This is Juan. Finished the closing on his property in Pickerington. Just had a couple questions for you. How did you hear about us originally?
I really can't remember. I think I got something in the mail from you. I'm not certain though.
Yeah, our initial contact was over a year ago, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I remember meeting you at the property over a year ago, and we're just now finally buying it. But so yeah, I think we did send you a letter in the mail. How's your process? How's the process been working with us? Would you say it's been pretty smooth?
Pretty good, yes.
Okay.
Pretty smooth.
Perfect. And if you knew somebody that was selling their house, would you recommend them to work with us?
Yes.
Perfect. Well, it was a pleasure working with you, and glad that we got to get this thing done together.
Okay, thank you.
Now, if you notice one thing, Juan, and I highly recommend you do this, but you want to put some keywords into your video like this one. This is one. Got it into a different video. So if you see,
this is Juan.
If you see down here, sell house fast, Columbus, Ohio. We buy houses, Columbus, Ohio. Cash offer, right? And then this is our number, and then down here, we buy houses fast, condition area. There's this keywords that you put in the subject line of your video, so that what happens is Google and YouTube love each other, right? And so when you put a YouTube video of this right here, and you have your website,
the algorithm picks it up everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah. So we have a ton of testimonials right now, and so Walker is our acquisitions manager, now our sales manager. But if you want to check this out, and you don't need to have a big production, man. You can just do it on your phone. You know,
right?
We use this now in front of other sellers. Hey, we've helped other people out in your situation. No, really? Yeah, look, we have a YouTube. Look at this lady. Look at this couple. This one right here. This is Dave. Another good one. He's so good, by the way. His testimonials. Buy houses, Columbus.
Here we are at the closing table.
Don't tell them.
Thanks to me.
I'm not saying how much, but I have in my hands a very large check.
Yes, it's
For Miss Wilson. We're buying another house today.
Yes.
This is David Sell House Columbus. And how'd you find us?
How did we find you? Did you look up on the internet?
Yes.
Looked us up online. Many of you know we are number one on Google. We are accredited with the Better Business Bureau, and we don't say that to brag. We say that because there's a lot of people out there texting and calling, and they're wannabe home buyers, right?
Yes.
But they're not the real deal. They're not taking this thing to closing. So, did you get contacted by other people who were saying they were going to buy their house?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
For years.
for years they're sending me stuff.
And letters. They sent you letters.
And I would save them in the drawer. And then I guess one day I said, I've been saying I want to sell my house for over 5 years, for 10 years.
Yeah.
So,
We had to go through a lot. We had to get the bank paid off, and those bankers are terrible. But everybody agreed the bank's terrible.
Yes.
Can I get an amen?
Amen.
Can I get a hallelujah?
Hallelujah.
If you got a house you want to sell fast, find us online, sellhousecolumbus.com, or 614-300-5151. Closing thoughts. What was your experience like working with me?
it really was no high pressure. I needed time to think about stuff, and they gave me time to think about it. They didn't rush me. Everybody else that's calling me or was calling me, even till on the way here, was like rushing. You gotta tell me today, you gotta tell me today, and they gave me time
Yeah.
to make my decision.
We're members of the community. We're neighbors. We're here in Columbus, and
And they're great to work with.
right now, thank you, Tina. We've been around a long time.
He's the reason I went with him, Jay, the truth.
I know who to thank. That. Where's that check? Give it to her.
No, I said she's the reason I went with him.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate
She's
you.
not the reason I sold. Just
Yeah.
the reason I went with y'all.
I know you want to say for a while. She's one who, what made you choose us? I guess I should say. What made
I saw all the videos,
sure.
and I liked what I saw, and I said, I think they're really legitimate.
That's what it's about. No, we want.
for legitimacy.
That's the key. Is like we want to separate ourselves from like everybody who goes to some weekend seminar that say they buy houses polluting our streets with signs and stuff like that. It's like, hey, how about you actually?
Talking about you, RJ.
And then you told me that you was gonna work with the people that was in the house.
We are.
Very good.
That's the thing.
That's a
Problem
good-
solved.
Really good.
They're very
Problem
They
solved.
actually would call me early. Yeah.
No, I went over there and I sat with them and spoke with them. And if you got a house and the house is occupied, we'll still work with the people. We're not in the business of throwing people out on the street. We're here to make good transactions ethically and just do the right thing, right?
All right.
So, this is David Sellhouse Columbus, Miss Wilson, Miss Tina, and we'll see you in the next video.
So a key thing here is like in this testimonial, obviously it's very natural for Dave to do that. And you just want to be your natural self, but make it about, all the other investors, right? It's like all the investors gave you, letters and were texting you and calling you. Like, why did you go with us? And they'll let you know. They're like, well, man, Juan kind of reminded me of my brother, man. Like they'll be like, he treated me fair. He got, because it's like what you did to build rapport. You're talking about their brother, what they did, for fun. It's like the family, occupation, recreation, and money. So when you do your first deal, just say, hey, can you do me a favor? This is kind of like for my scrapbook that I remember, because I'm keeping a journal or a journey. I'm documenting my journey in this business. whip out the phone, do the video thing, you know, hey, on with whatever your company is. And I'm here today at the closing table with, you know, they don't want to use their name sometimes, so just call them by the last name, Mr. and Mrs. Wilson, and get that testimonial, and then boom, now you have it. And you can put it on YouTube like we did here. So this is our channel if you ever want to get some ideas. But this right here will set you apart, man. There's so many testimonials in here for people just like that. Even our name of the channel is, we got some keywords, you know?
Yeah.
If you ever want to check out our actual site, just Sell House Columbus. But, all right, brother. What other questions do you have for us?
I'm good at the moment, man. But you know me, I'll bombard you on TikTok or something with, with any questions I get.
Yeah, man. There's a new feature on TikTok now where I can like start posting events. So I'm gonna be posting live. My goal is to get on live during the week around 10 a.m. To go on for about an hour and answer questions, go over kind of like some things that I feel like I've been talking about the many ways that we monetize leads for those people that are doing marketing like you are, and you have something that's like close to retail. You know, you want to start setting up your network. You got your realtor over here that will pay you a good referral fee for every time you have that. You want too much for it? Okay. Well, here's another way where I can help you. I know this really solid realtor that can get the job done. I know it because he's done so many closings. He's helped so many people. I can refer you to them, right? And then you work out a referral fee with that realtor so that you get paid. So every ounce of like every lead that comes in, I want you to monetize it. That was my latest one is what I was talking about. The latest live that I did outside of today was about how to monetize every lead that comes into your pipeline. So
yeah, the more I learn about this real estate business, it's the more avenues of approach I see that I can and strategies.
Yeah,
I'm still learning, but yeah, we'll get there.
All right, Juan. Well, look, man, I appreciate you being on here. I'm going to put this recording in there. If you want to review it, you've got this new deal calculator, which I'm going to put in the resources. And as always, man, if you need anything, holler at us. Thank you for being a valued member.
Thank you guys, man. Thank you.
All right, buddy.
Have a great weekend, man.
You too.
All right.